I wondered if I could do that. Anyway, good morning, folks. As you'll see from the links in the description, I have a bit of a full day ahead of me. I will be doing the Sultans of Shadilay podcast, as usual, on their channel. That will be this morning at 10:30, which will be in about, let's check my clock, 2 and 3/4 hours, give or take. So probably about 2 and 15 minutes from when this actually finishes uploading. What else? I will also be appearing on Christopher Evrard's channel, and that'll be for a discussion about the state of modern pop culture and what we can do about it, and what's being done to correct the issue. It's a strong, I think there's a strong case to be made for a sort of free market of ideas approach. Let's see, what else? In personal news, on the personal news front, there is 373 people who follow me on Getter. You're all madmen. Thank you very much. and mad women. Let's not leave the ladies out. But I am also proud that my YouTube channel has gained 62 subscribers since I really started putting work into it in January. To be honest, 5, 7, 8, 9-ish. Yeah, 9 subs a month in 7 months isn't bad as far as I'm concerned. Especially when I picked up 10 in a week. So, of course, I will continue to beg you to like, share, subscribe, comment. The donation link is going to stay there for now. I'm a poor. I won't lie. But also, what else have I got going on here? The intent had been to do the last chapter of Venture last night, which is, now renamed Leaving Day. But unfortunately, due to this throat thing that's still lingering from what I suspect was a COVID infection, but in any case affected my throat, I haven't been able to spend too much time at that. I don't think my voice is quite where I want it for audio work, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And as you can tell, I'm still clearing some things out, especially early in the morning. Other than that, there's not a lot of stuff on the personal news front, so this video is going to serve as the heads up for both of those live streams today. And other than that, go check out the other Sultans. They all do content of their own. I believe. I'm not 100% sure if Bleach does. I'll have to ask Bleach, actually, if he has content anywhere. I'm not sure if I'm subscribed to him. Check out the Cardinal Conservative. His new tabletop role-playing game. We've been working up a character sheet, or we did character creation on Thursday, and Thursday coming we should have our first play session. Other than that, I don't think there's a lot going on. No. Okay. Um, the Rippaverse now appears to be over 3.3 million, so that's an amazing piece of news. I am extremely proud of my fellow geeks for going, no, we're not putting up with this Star Wars Disneyfication shite of everything. The Lord of the Rings fans are in open revolt, and Amazon is freaking out. The newest stuff that Hollywood is putting out looks like absolute trash, at least where it intersects with the pop culture spaces from other places. The new Black Panther and the Woman King soundtracks of their trailers are both indicative of terrible racism on Hollywood's part, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, people just aren't taking this shite anymore. It looks like and I do apologize, I do get these confused, not being American, but it looks like Congress versus the Senate. Congress appears to have passed H.R. 1808, which is a supposed assault weapons ban, but looks more like a firearms ban than anything else. And I guess the best way to put it would be that it looks like a Canadian or Trudeau style firearms ban. Yeah, no. If you're an American, I highly recommend get on the phone to your senator, email them, make them aware that you do not support this idea that you should have any of your freedoms infringed. In fact, push back against everything. If you happen to have any means of contacting the Supreme Court, encourage them to strike it down the minute it comes in front of them, because it will. It's an affront to your Second Amendment. And I'm certain there are people who are watching this who are going to say things like, oh, but you don't really need an assault-style weapon. A .22 lever action isn't an assault-style weapon. A pistol grip does not make a gun an assault weapon. There was a wonderful response or question point. I can't remember the guy's name. I believe he was from Ohio recently that was going around. And the gist of his argument was the things that are actually used as weapons of war, the guns that are used as weapons of war, are already illegal for the average American. Things like select fire. Now, if you don't understand what select fire is, I can give you a very quick rundown. On a civilian firearm, an AR for example, you don't have a select fire switch. What you have is safe and semi-auto, generally. You may even have safe, actually, no, you would have safe or semi-auto, that's it. The average American citizen is not allowed to own a full auto firearm. On a military weapon, your selector switch has 1, 2, 3, 4 settings. I think 4 settings, and I'll go through them because I may have that number wrong. But there's safe, which means that pull the trigger, nothing happens, assuming the trigger even moves, depending on the type of safety. But there's safe, semi-automatic, burst, which is generally 3 rounds, and full automatic. Now those last two, burst and full automatic, they're not legal for the American public, generally. And there's a good reason for that. You can't use full auto to hunt, for example. You can't really use 3-round burst to hunt either. Which probably isn't the intention, but my thinking is that, and I'm theorizing a bit here, but my thinking is that when the full auto weapon ban was passed, it was passed with criminals in mind. Now, obviously, criminals don't give a flying fuck about the law. That's why they're called criminals. Now, I hate having to explain this because it should be something that's self-explanatory. But as you can see from Canada, the US, Australia, Canada, the UK, and Australia, politicians don't seem to have the basic sense to go, we can tell people what they can and can't do, but people will do what they want. Now, the average law-abiding citizen, myself, for example, here in Canada, I don't even own a firearm. There are other reasons beyond just the cost and the law, but even if the law were altered, I don't really have a need to own a handgun. Not where I live. It's an extremely low crime area, and yeah, the police response is absolutely irrelevant, by the way. Anyone who says you don't need a gun because you can just call the cops is a damn fool. If someone is kicking in your door and you pick up a phone rather than a weapon, you're an idiot. Unless it's one of those old phones that had the heavy bass with the bell in it. Those things are awesome for bludgeons. But if someone says to you, oh, you can depend on the police to protect... No, you can't depend on the police to protect you. The police show up after something has happened. Not before, not during. Very rarely during. And even when they show up during, Uvalde, yeah. Not only that, but half the time, especially lately, when the cops do show up, well, sometimes you have little black children with no shoes on, and clearly no good parents, who assault the officers. Yeah. Or you'll have people who film part of the interaction, once the action part of the interaction actually starts, who ignore or edit away the really significant portion where the person who was assaulted or beaten up or shot by police, yeah, where they've gone and done something to deserve it. Excuse me, I'm burping quite a bit this morning. But, okay, to me, and I'm not an American, but to me, the three most important amendments to your Constitution are the first, the second, and the fourth. The first guarantees free speech. If I recall correctly, the fourth is freedom of assembly. And, of course, the second is freedom to bear arms. Actually, I have to pause and check to make sure I have the fourth right. I was right that I do think the fourth is is among the important ones, but I had it wrong as to what it was. The Fourth Amendment reads, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be searched, seized. Basically, that's the right to security of personal property. Security of person and property. And you can't protect the fourth or the first without the second. Period. You're seeing that in Canada. If you can't realize that when we have a justice minister who says there is no right to personal property or private property in Canada, and then a prime minister who says you have no right to defend yourself with a firearm in Canada, yeah, no. I stand firmly with Colion Noir on this. If you don't have the right to defend yourself with the most effective tool for that purpose, you don't have the right to defend yourself, period. So basically your government becomes pro-criminal. By default. If you're told you're not allowed to have a gun to defend your home and yourself, then you're basically told you're not allowed to have a home. And you basically revert to being property of the state. You're a ward. and as bad as some parts of U.S. policy can be, Canada especially, I suspect Britain and Australia are just as bad for being nanny states. There's a reason our healthcare systems are collapsing while the US's is fine. Right? And people like to rail against the US system and say, oh, but citizens all over the world like their healthcare system. Well, of course they do, if they've never lived under a different one. It's like religion that way. And in fact, I've heard the praise of the NHS referred to as being pseudo-religious, especially when people are being encouraged to go outside and bang pots and pans. What kind of weird ritual is that? Yeah, hail the heroes, all right. You know, this is generally the same sort of healthcare system where, oh, before the vaccine, oh, you people are wonderful and heroes and all this, and then after the vaccine, oh, you need to get vaccinated or you're a bad person. Hang on, that nurse has been working with COVID infected patients the entire time. They may have already been sick 3 or 4 times, or at least once. Why on earth would you tell them that they have to get a vaccine now? If that was the way you were thinking, why weren't you just locking people that were confirmed with COVID cases in a box somewhere to die? Yeah, anyway. Anyway, that's my mini rant for the morning. So come watch us on Sultans of Shadilay later, and later still, come see myself and Trim from the Sultans, speaking with James Crake, and I apologize, James, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but Crake, I believe, is his last. I know that's how it spells and how it looks, so I'm going to assume that's how it pronounces. We will be joining Christopher Evrard. The last two, James and Christopher, are authors. Trim is an artist. Myself, I'm a woodworker, so I'm a bit of a weirdo. You have to be a bit of a weirdo to work with wood. But we'll be discussing pop culture and what can be done to improve it, what's being done to improve it, where the big moves are, things of that nature. Anyway, hope you're all having a good day. Hope you continue to have a good day. And rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye now.